What's up everyone? Welcome back to a video on the Miata. We have 3 days to completely overwork the interior of the car, including a roll cage that's heavier than expected, bucket seats, sparkle sprints, a new steering wheel, of course, Momo D32. This is a used steering wheel, by the way. Yeah, it does a trick. It was 50 bucks. And of course, last but not least, 4-point sparkle belts. Also kind of common, these things. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we can do everything in just 3 days, because on Sunday we won't be able to work on the car because we actually want to go to a JDM kind of meet. Of course, I'll separate everything as well so you guys can watch the video specifically for the roll cage, specifically for the steering wheel, and so on. If you're interested in just one part, then click on a pop-up banner to watch a certain video on one of these parts. So yeah, without further ado, because time's running short, let's get started. Let's go. Because it's the first thing you'll have to do, we will start with this roll cage right here. Day 2 of putting everything into the interior of this car, of the Miata. The tricky part will be to cut the metal behind the 2 seats. Now, to get the roll cage in place, we will take out the roof because it's easier to access the points where everything is going to be bolted into place. Seems like that someone already fixed this with a duct tape. This is what is keeping your interior dry, so be nice to it. Yeah, that's ripped apart here. That is the roof, more or less. And let's clean this thing a little bit now. Okay, to continue with the roll cage, we will cut this hole into the metal here. Of course, I'm not entirely sure if that's actually big enough because the roll cage isn't in now. We will see and test it after we've cut this piece out of there. So yeah, let's start cutting. Okay, day 3 of putting everything together, and I'm starting to feel a little bit nervous. The roll cage isn't even bolted into place. It's actually a roll bar. I just tend to mix that up. But anyways, this is going to be a very long night, I guess. Still not entirely hopeless that we can finish it today, but let's see. What we need to do now is drill into the chassis, and here goes nothing. So, day 4. That means we didn't make it to the JDM meet, unfortunately, but we will finish the steering wheel today. Once that's in place, all we need to do is cut the carpet for the roll cage, and I think then we might be finished with everything. Yeah, the only difficult part about this steering wheel is going to be it's airbag-less. The MX-5 came without the airbag, and you had to tick a box to get the airbag, or it came with a facelift. I'm not really sure. I have an airbag version, so I have the airbag dashboard and I have an airbag steering wheel. Before we take the old steering wheel out though, I want to show you something. This is it's actually a 37, so it's a 370 or 375 millimeter steering wheel in diameter. The new steering, it's a 320 millimeter, and that makes sense because the name of the steering wheel is the D32. So that probably stands for the diameter size. No. Isn't really easy without a second person. Now be careful where you place that, because this might actually still work. Okay, now I feel safe to be sitting inside the car again. We didn't do everything in 3 days. We didn't manage to do anything within 4 or 5 days actually. This right now is an entire month later. So complication number 1 actually is the seats. Our seat rails are going to get replaced with these Seibel seat rails that are holding the seat in position, and they go exactly where the original rails would have been. So we are going to get the original rails out of there. That is, let's say, decreasing the comfort of this vehicle because you cannot move the seat forward or backwards anymore. So yeah, let's hope that my feet can reach the pedals. I mean, they will definitely, because I'm actually a bit too tall for the vehicle. Yeah, why are we going to get these in? I need to be able to adjust the tilt of the seat. Don't ask me why this is a regulation that I have to meet. Extremely stupid, but this is the reason why I cannot use the YAS Performance consoles that, or adapter plates, you know, the little red metal plates that go between the rails and the seats, because those do not allow me to have tilt in my seat. Problem number 2 has to do with our steering hubs. I initially wanted to install this steering hub. This is the Momo hub. This would fit any Miata without any airbag. This one has the airbag though, and there's this clock spring is the word for it in English. So yeah, you'll find the clock spring on any Miata NB or NA with an airbag. Any NB has an airbag actually, so you will find that on any NB. This is in place where the Momo hub would go. So the Momo hub is not engineered in a way or designed in a way that it would go over that clock spring, because the clock spring has this plug that is part of the clock spring. You could either, I don't know, break that plug off, or you could just get the clock spring out of there. And I didn't know that we can get the clock. And I didn't know that you could get the clock spring out of the car without any problems. So yeah, I just tried to get a new hub which would go over the clock spring. It has this little cutout here for the plug. Let me show you.
Right there with the clock spring.
This is made for several steering wheels, and this would actually go over your clock spring. What is the problem with that? Another problem with TÜV regulations in Germany. Who would have thought? You need and this is actually a common sense safety regulation, so I don't mind that. This kind of hub, because this is designed in a way that if you hit the steering wheel with your head, you hit it with the head, and this piece of metal goes all the way back here. I can't explain it any differently now because, you know, language issues, but you get the point. With this hub, that metal is not going anywhere. So, bought this one for $100. For nothing actually. So we're going to get the clock spring off, or actually already got the clock spring off, and then we will cut the wires, and then we'll figure out how to put something here that there is always contact with the steering wheel, you know, in order for the horn to work. I think that's it. I think that those are the 2 problems that prevented me from finishing this project within 3 days. And the carpet is in place, everything is in place. I cut the plate and the carpet and it looks fine. The holes are a bit too big, but I don't mind actually. I just want to get this thing finished. Yeah, so yeah. Speaking of which, without further ado, let's get going. this should be long enough to touch on the back of the wheel hub. We can just quickly test that for a second. It's not the best solution, but I think that will work. Yeah, the next thing we are going to do is wiring this airbag resistor or restrictor in place.
Yeah.
Okay, next up will be to connect our Momo hub. I made sure that this paperclip is actually touching this ring. So yeah, we'll just throw that on there. I'm gonna torque that down later. I just want to see first if everything works. Let me just quickly use one screw. Yeah, let's connect the battery and see if I did anything wrong. That's nice. Nice wiring skills. Cool. Horn is working, so we can finally clean this whole mess up. Okay.
No.
Okay, that's it. Okay, now the seat screws are in. Screw here, screw there, all the way tightened down, and if you lift that up, you can see there is a screw. And right there as well. These Taibo seat rails, I don't know what they did there, but you need to push them down really hard just to make them fit over the holes and that you don't tighten the bolts in, like, you know, like not like correctly. Like the thread's not going into, yeah, anyways. And now what we're gonna do is to get this hole here onto this part of the rail, and also the same on the other side. The other side is tricky because you can't see anything. You need to do that without the Allen, that's the problem. And with your hands, you are losing the bolts all the time. I think I'm in the seat. That went unexpectedly well. Going to do the same on this side now. Why are you getting jacked? Yeah, that's it. Oh, okay. Okay, the seats are in. So are the harnesses and everything. So all I gotta do is to figure out this harness stuff so that it fits my body. I think we're good to go, actually. This is the end of it. This is, can I put all these things in 3 days? Answer was no, but still did everything. Still managed to get everything in. I know the steering wheel is old, and I know the seats are the cheapest out there you can get. Although there's so many things that might seem bad, for me this is the perfect interior now for this Miata. It's so nice to finally have a car that has a roll bar. I mean, you can literally carry this vehicle like a handbag now around town, if it wouldn't weigh 1,000 kilos. Added weight is a topic. The roll bar was really heavy. The benefit of it is it's increasing rigidity by a lot. So yeah, I hope that the car is more stable now in the corners. And speaking of stability in the corners, next up is probably going to be a suspension or coilover kit. Last but not least, of course, we are going to take this thing for a ride now to see how it improved. So let's go. The steering wheel is kind of not centered. That's a little bit, that's really annoying actually. Should have double checked that before. It felt like it was straight, but maybe the tires were a little bit not straight. I don't know. It's just like a tiny little bit to the left. I'm very happy with the seats. They do keep me in position. Really perfect for my size. Steering wheel, like I said, a little bit off, and I think still there isn't enough room, so I might need need to look into a smaller one. That is why I bought a used steering wheel. So I might take a look into a smaller steering wheel, but I actually like the size. And you know, one thing that's a bit annoying is behind the steering. You hear that? That's the little paper clip rubbing on the ring. Maybe I'll figure something else out. I don't know. Maybe you have a cool tip for me. Write it down in the comments. But yeah, let's go back to the shop or place, trash, where we wrench on this thing. See you in a bit. Thanks for watching, and thanks for, you know, believing in me, even though I didn't make anything happen within 3 days. Hope to see you guys in the next episode of anything with this car, or on an episode with the Alfa Romeo Mito. And yeah, subscribe of course if you're new to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.